Yeah, my muscles are really stiff from the trainer last night. Is it time to stretch?
Moving forward with the Decker team. Moving forward together with the Decker team.
For over 30 years, we've been helping you not only buy and sell real estate, in fact, helped over 3,017 families navigate the journey of investing or selling their home or buying. We've actually been able to come alongside people and help them strengthen, heal, and flourish in their relationships, grow their fun, grow their faith, and grow their finances. And, yes, Ken?
Because it's really stiff. Like,
yeah.
When I straighten my arms straight, like it pulls on my bulging biceps.
Right. And it's not really time to stretch the way you think it is.
Oh, no?
No.
I thought the show was all about stretching.
It's all about stretching. And in this episode, what you're going to learn is how to stretch within your relationships and your communication with people, not so much your muscles.
What if you pull on my arm? Would that...
No,
that's
stretching. Not the kind.
And that's relational stretching?
That's not the kind we're talking about today. So what are we talking about today? How can you stretch or strengthen? And I think when we're talking about stretching a relationship, you're expanding it. It's getting bigger.
Fuller,
more intimate, more robust. And we can stretch a relationship sometimes by going back to the basics.
And what if we stretch it too far?
Ooh, it might
break.
It might.
Because then that's not stretching, that's stressing.
Right. So this is not about having a stress into the relationships you existingly or that exist in your life right now. Obviously, I am going to break my language skills right now.
Rented lips, can't do anything with them.
Can't do anything with them. And so stretching it's probably uncomfortable.
It's always uncomfortable.
It's not catastrophic. It's not going to break anything. Or if you're stretching a relationship and it does break, I'm going to propose that potentially it was going to break in some other way anyhow.
You just might have expedited it?
You might have.
Like purelated it?
Kind of like purelated
it. Or UPS'd it?
Kind of like that. Because every relationship and every conversation we have either strengthens and stretches or expands the relationship or shrinks it or harms it. Like it does either
Susan Scott said
goodness or harm.
What did Susan Scott say?
Well, Susan Scott said that every communication and every failed communication, actually, it first happens slowly.
Maybe I should say it.
Okay, you go ahead.
Relationships fail slowly, then quickly by one failed conversation after another.
Mm-hmm. That was the right way she said it. I was bouncing all over the place. Forgive me. Yes, I know you will.
Fierce Leadership, great book.
Fantastic book. Or Fierce Conversations. It's in both of them, actually.
Yeah, and fierce really means real.
Yeah, it means real, authentic.
Authentic conversation. Yeah.
And so when we were talking going back to basics, one of the tools that we used in the early days when we talked over each other a lot more than we do today.
Some people might say we still do, Yetta.
I know.
So, but when we were talking over each other, we weren't laughing and kibitzing like we do here. We were like yelling at each other in anger.
Right. Or cutting each other off because we didn't want to hear what they had to say. And we just frankly wanted to be heard.
Like chalk to the hand because the face isn't listening. That kind of thing.
That kind.
But what tool did we use? It was so awesome.
One of the tools we used was a small piece of hardwood flooring. It was actually a piece of parquet hardwood flooring. It was just like 4 inches long, 1 inch wide. And we kept that with us pretty much all the time at the beginning because we had to slow down our communication and go back to the basics of whoever had the floor, whoever had that piece of flooring had the floor to speak. And the person that didn't have the piece of floor wasn't able to speak other than if the person paused long enough that had the floor and you needed clarity, you could ask for clarity. But otherwise, no sharing your viewpoint. The whole point of slowing it down was slowing it down to ensure you're actually listening to the other person for the sake of hearing what they were saying rather than listening to the other person preparing your response.
I just had a thought. We should title this episode Hardwood Floor Saved My Marriage.
It did, actually. That was a piece of saving our marriage for sure. So that's a really basic skill, whether you use a piece of floor or you find a different way
Pass
to
a pen
slow,
back and forth if you have a pen.
Right.
Yeah.
To slow down the conversation, especially when there's a level of
angst.
That's the word. Angst.
How do you spell angst?
This isn't a spelling show. I can't
It's a good
think
thing.
like that right now. It is.
If it was a spelling bee, I'd fail.
You and me both. So thinking about what ways have you slowed down a conversation where not ended the conversation, just slowed down a conversation that wasn't going well? Have you taken a pause? Have you said, you know what? I need 5 minutes to regroup my thoughts and I can come back to this conversation because I'm pretty sure whatever's going to come out of my mouth next isn't going to be effective for us, for our relationship. And this isn't just about a marriage relationship. This is all relationships.
I used to just leave. That was bad.
It wasn't helpful.
Oh, because you would feel unsafe. That you would feel that our relationship was in jeopardy. And then what I learned was, again, communication skills, right? Just saying, I feel this conversation is escalating in the wrong way and I need a break and I will come back to it and I will come back to you and our relationship is safe.
Right. And we're going to be okay.
Yeah. And then I would leave.
And then he would leave.
And pull out the remaining hair I had.
We used to have a little bit. So it's really just a matter of slowing it down. I think that is probably one of the wisest things we can do and that we've ever done to be able to have the conversation win.
You know what else slows it down a lot?
What?
Active listening. And women are great at it. They go, They're like acknowledging.
Not too much of it, though.
Not too much. It'd drive you crazy. But they acknowledge. And then, we were taught to paraphrase back.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's the best.
I don't think so either because I feel like, no.
No, like you just feel like someone
Sometimes
parroted
the odd word
or the idea. And really, this word is like, tell me more about that, Yetta. Or the scariest thing to ask is, how did that make you feel? Those are great conversation stretchers.
They are, especially if you're actually listening. If you don't give a rip, I mean, this is something that will shrink a conversation. If you really don't want to know how they're feeling or what they're thinking or what's going on for them, don't ask. Like, you're better not to ask.
No, because if someone starts pouring out their heart and then they recognize that you ain't paying attention, and I use the word ain't on purpose.
It gets you into it's another failed conversation. And so what Ken was saying near the beginning is every relationship's either going to succeed or fail one conversation at a time. So we're having them anyway. So we might as well have a successful conversation, and that will stretch and expand our relationship.
So how about making this the season to deepen, grow, and stretch your relationships rather than shrink?
And, maybe you're saying this is a lot of stuff I haven't heard about before. I would encourage you to grab a book. There are so many amazing books out there, including the one we referred to by Susan Scott. So Fierce Leadership or Fierce Conversation. So we are honored to be your partners on the journey.
Moving forward with the Decker team. Moving forward together with the Decker team.